All right, I'm going to give you an example of how to do some of these calculations. I am going to be using the small set of hardware. So my numbers are going to be different from yours. So do not write down my numbers. I have an empty vial that weighs 135.7. That is the same for you. My weighed 147.7, 159.0, and 162.3. If I want to find without the vial, then I need to take away the weight of the vial for each one of those. So I'm going to do 147.7 minus 135.7 gets me an answer of 12 grams. If I subtract those two things. And again, I'm just trying to figure out how much with the washers would weigh without anything else. So now I can say for every 25 washers, there is 12 grams of mass. If I keep on going, I've got that first for every statement there that says for every 25 washers, there's 12 grams of mass. I can write that as part of my proportion. It doesn't matter which one I put on the top. For every 25 washers, there is 12 grams of mass. Now, it's a little different for hex nuts and screws, but whatever the case may be. This question wants to know about 100 washers. So I'm going to put that in on the other side of my proportion. I can cross multiply and divide, and I should end up for mine with an answer of 48 grams. So now I can say for every one box of washers, there is 48 grams of mass. Okay, for the next one, you can see that it says to use your for every statement from table 3 to set up your proportion. My for every statement was for every one box. One box would weigh 48 grams. This question wants to know if you had 1,000 grams. Again, you remember you got to make the units match up. So if grams is on the bottom on one side, then it's going to need to be on the bottom on the other side. If I cross multiply and divide, I get an answer of 20.8 boxes would give me a final answer there for that one. For that means then for every 1,000 grams there is 20.8 boxes of washers. We are going to skip this next one. So number 3 and table 5 we can cross out completely. Number 4 now asks us to find out how much one piece of hardware would be. So again, one washer. And instead of going and putting one washer on the scale, we need to think about how we can figure that out. So here's what we know. We know that this is the relationship between mass and pieces. So I'm going to label this part of my proportion with grams and washers, because I know that that's going to be true. Now the measurement that we have that relates grams and washers is actually back from the very beginning. So the very first table that we have there, table 2, tells us that 12 grams of washers was 25 washers. What this question is asking is for one washer. So we can again do that math. We're going to cross multiply and we're going to get an answer of 0.48 grams. So now we have a for every statement that says one piece of washer. Sounds funny, so it's really just for every one washer. There is 0.48 grams of mass. Again, your numbers are going to be a little bit different because I was using the small ones. Okay, for 5. Okay, for this first one here, we need to know that one box for every one box, there is 100 pieces. That was back from the very first problem. So 100 washers, which means we can set this up as one box over 100 washers. And we know that we're, oops, I guess this is hex nuts. Same difference. We are shipping 25,000 hex nuts. So we're solving for that. So that should give us an answer of 250 boxes. For the next one, we are looking for the relationship between boxes and mass, which was number 2. We know that. We can use the number of, oops, this is the for every statement. For every 1,000 grams, there is 20.8 boxes, which means we can set up 1,000 grams on top, 20.8 boxes on the bottom, and then you want to know that we have 250 boxes. We can cross multiply and set up for that one. For 5C, now they're giving us a new piece of information that it's 50 cents for every 1,000 grams. When we just solved for this last one, we did 250 times 1,000 divided by 20.8, and I got 12,019 grams. Again, your answer is going to be different. Now I know that this is $1.50 for every 1,000 grams. Oops. Go away. Okay. And we are doing 12,019 grams in order to figure out how much that costs. So we get an answer of $6,009. Okay. So finally now we're going to just kind of compare each of these pieces here. So the washers should have been the lightest, or at least it was for me. And now we're going to just kind of compare each one of those things. And we're going to do that by saying compared to one thing or the other, what are they going to do? So for mine, one washer one washer weighed 0.48 grams. One hex nut would have weighed 0.932 grams. And the screws would have weighed 1.06 grams. Okay, so what we're doing now here is we're just going to take the smallest one and divide them each by each other. So what I mean by that is we're going to, since 0.48 is my smallest, I'm going to divide all of these by 0.48. And we'll do some more practice with this later on. But what we're now doing here is we're saying that for every one washer, you get one washer, and that's easy. That makes sense. Now 1.06 divided by 0.48 is going to tell us that one washer equals, oops, excuse me, I guess I can just erase this. Okay, we're saying that one screw equals 2.2 washers, and over here we're saying that one hex nut is equal to 1.9 washers. What we're trying to do with that is trying to be able to figure things out just by comparing them, and we'll do that again in the next activity.